Hey, welcome back. My name is Kurt Jordan, and this is part 2, balance. So balance is the ability to maintain your center of gravity over your base of support, which is anything that you're touching to keep balance. Balance is important because it gives your students control of their bodies in unstable situations. We're focused on rail balance because we want our students to prepare for precisions later on, and we want them to get comfortable moving on narrow surfaces. Even though balance can be a great warm-up, you still might want to prep the ankles before you have them balance. You can do ankle circles, pivoting around the toe in both directions. You can do heel lifts, pushing the toes away from you. You can try to lean back with a straight body as far as you can, and then come back up. Teach your students how to balance at the ground level. If all you have is a rail that's about waist high, that's okay. You're just gonna have to be there to help them stay safe. A precision trainer is definitely the way to go. First, what you wanna do is you wanna have your students find the balls of their feet. To do so, you can have them lift their heels off the ground, or with one foot, you can have them try to place their foot onto the rail. Beginners often gravitate towards their arches because it contours around the bar. But this is wrong because you have less control there. So you can feel free to put the student's foot back to the position that you want to be balancing them with on the ball of their feet. The next thing you want to do is cue your student's posture. You want their knees to be slightly bent, their hips a little bit further back, and their chest up. Vision is responsible for 1/3 of our balance. So tell your students to focus on one thing. So you always want your students to try to stay on top of the bar. The first thing you have to cue them to do is to relax. If they're too tense, they're not going to be ready to make the moves they need to in order to stay on top of the bar. The next thing is you want to draw attention to the hips and the arm movement. If they're falling forwards, you want them to send their hips backwards and their arms forward. If they're falling backwards, you want to try to get them to get their hips forward and their arms wide. Students are going to fall often when learning to make adjustments, and that's okay. But you want them to practice good habits on the ground when they're learning to fall to protect them when they're balancing up high. So when your students start to fall, have them squat down. The lower their center of gravity, the easier it is to balance. Plus, their hands are really close to the bar. They can grab it and come down. Make sure their hands get there before their feet leave. Even at ground level, these are things that you want to practice. Squatting down, hands to the bar, feet leave. Now that your students have been instructed on how to do perpendicular balance, have them play with it. Have them jump up on top. You can have them try to pivot around. You can see if they can do a few squats on the bar. See if they can drop into a step fall, and see if they can change to the other side. You can also try to make these a lot harder by having them just close their eyes. Some games you can play with your students to improve their balance are balance jousting. Each player holds the end of a stick and tries to stay on top of the bar, forcing the other player off. Fencing. Each player can only make contact with the back of their hands and attempt to push the other player off. So now that you've been taught how to teach rail balance, put it in all of your classes. It's important at all skill levels. Thank you for watching. I'm Kurt Jordan. I will see you next time.